Hello, it's Friday. It's Kevin. It's live from lockdown. Number 59. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. I see a bunch of people here already. I think maybe that clue, about checking the discussion, I think that worked for a couple of you. We've had a hard time finding each other, and today I found how to find the video as soon as I go live, and I posted it somewhere else on my page, and I saw that Linda had already said yippers, which made me think she was there. Oh, thank you, everybody. See if there's any distraught messages. No. Hooray. To get rid of that loop. I'm always flustered, number 59, live from lockdown number 59, coming to you yet again from my somewhat nomadic lockdown studio in Leith, in the city of Edinburgh, in the country of Scotland. I want to acknowledge the land on which I sit, as I do when I start. Many people over many millennia have lived here. Many peoples have lived and traversed these lands and made them what they are, and brought the rich history to this place that it has and it celebrates so well. Scots and Celts and Picts and invading Romans and invading English and people from all over the world. And what an honor to be among them. What an honor to be here amongst the rich, rich culture and tradition and history. And what an honor to be amongst the people who are here now, who are my very good friends and making me feel so welcome in so many ways. Showing me so much hospitality. Thank you to all of you. I really appreciate it. You know, that was summertime off the top. So there's a lot of birthday requests, as I said, this week. And one I've mentioned a few times, my good friend John Farrell. Fingers Farrell, he will show up if he shows up on Facebook. Ah, there he is. He had a birthday on Monday, I think, beginning of this week. I think it was Monday. John is a great guy. He's become my local guitar tech. He's fixed a couple of guitars and a bass for me and a mandolin for me a few times. He's also a great recording engineer. And he's a fantastic handyman. He's just a really good guy to know. And I want to wish him a very happy birthday. I sent him a message early in the week to ask if he had any requests, and his request was Summertime, Gershwin's Summertime by George and his lovely wife Ira, as we like to joke. The Gershwin brothers, George and Ira Gershwin, wrote that fabulous tune, which has seen so many incarnations over the years. Thanks for listening. Thanks for giving me a chance to play that, John. That was fun. Thirsty work. Getting ready for this show. I hope I'm not getting fuzzy. Oh, it's looking okay. I will say, as I often do early in my show, if you are able to support live music endeavors, donations are very welcome. Not necessary, but very welcome. In spite of openings in many parts of the world, it continues to be mighty hard to be in the live music business. We're the first ones to lose our jobs and the last ones to get them back. So if you're able and you want to check the links on the side of the Facebook page to my PayPal account and send a small donation there. If you're in Canada, you want to send an e-transfer to the email address along the bottom of the screen. It's very welcome. And if you're not able to do that, there's no shame. And if you're able to do that and you want to support somebody else doing this, do that too. Again, check the links at the side of the page. There's some great organizations and places to support. Some people down at the bottom, towards the bottom of the notes, some of my favorite live streams, people who do shows. You know, I forgot to link her today, but my good friend Michelle Rumball in Toronto does a show right when I'm done, 5 o'clock Toronto time. And there's another great one to support. So, and thank you to all of you who are such wonderful and consistent supporters to me in so many ways, financially and morally and musically. It means so much to know you're out there. I cannot tell you. It can be lonely here in a studio, talking to a camera and a microphone. I mentioned lots of birthday dedications this week. Here's a very late one, and I referred to this last week. I've often talked about my friend Doug Merriam, a great singer and guitarist and all-around fabulous guy in Ottawa, who I first met in one of my combos at Jazzworks Jazz Camp many years ago. Doug's gone on to become a very good friend. I think I've referred to this. Doug's partner Alex makes the world's best grilled cheese sandwiches. You heard it here first, folks. I won't give you his address, else he'd be lining up. Anyway, I discovered last Friday in a message Doug sent to me that the Friday before that had been his birthday, May 21st. I think right on May 21st or thereabouts. I felt awful that I missed his birthday. But he did send a birthday request along then, and it's a tune that I have played, but I never really learned, and I couldn't pull it off in a hurry last Friday. So I promised him I'd try to work it up for this week, and I've been spending some time with it. It's a tune by Irving Berlin, written in 1934, and originally written in the key of, well, it's either an E-flat major or C minor, depending on which way you look at it. I brought it down to minor third. I'm going to play it in A minor or C major to take advantage of the white notes and the open strings. But I do hope you like it, and I hope that I get through it. I've never played this by myself before. But for Doug Merriam, fabulous Irving Berlin standard, How Deep is the Ocean? There we are. there you go. How deep is the ocean? Doug, I hope you didn't mind a little bit of a bossa nova treatment, and I hope you weren't singing along too carefully because I got in a little bit of a trouble in the second last chorus there. That's a complicated tune. It kind of never stops. But anyway, the marvelous Irving Berlin, done for the marvelous Doug Merriam. Happy birthday, Doug. Thanks again to all of you for listening to that. And, oh, look at that. Lots of people here. Hooray. More birthdays. You know, might be the closest one to an all birthday request show. There's a couple of tunes that are not specific birthday requests, but not many. This next one is. It might have been next week. This is a birthday that's coming up. It's Tuesday, perhaps, of next week. Is Judy Shan's birthday. Judy's someone whose name we often see. I don't know if she's here with us or not. I hope so. Judy did a marvelous thing. She took the proactive step of sending me a message a couple of weeks ago about what birthday request she might like on the show. And I want to say, friends, that is behavior which I strongly encourage. Yeah, that's great to get advance notice. I did get an advance notice for one for next week that I'm hoping to get together, and keep them coming. As I say to you often, I expect to be doing this for a while still, and I'm always looking for new material and new tunes to learn. So here's what Judy had to say in her advanced, well in advance message. She said, I had a hard time sleeping, and I got my head all busy thinking about her upcoming birthday, which she was then hoping to spend with her daughter Joy and Joy's partner in Gatineau. Oh, to escape the rodeo, Judy says. So Judy and I traded messages earlier in this week, and she said she was going to get there. So, Judy, I hope you're there or you're on your way. I hope you've been traveling safely. You got to get through the challenging places like Manitoba and Ontario to get there. But I know I knew Judy when she lived in Toronto, so I knew she's going to see some friends there. I'd love to be seeing her myself. But, Judy, I hope you are about to be enjoying some time with your marvelous daughter. The rest of her message. She said, so thinking of escaping the rodeo got her thinking about Aaron Copland's Fanfare for the Common Man. And that led to her thinking about Appalachian Spring, and finally to the lovely shaker tune, Simple Gifts. I'm telling you this because I know you'll want to play it. She says, not all smoothed out and legato, please. Shakers don't do that. And to dedicate this to Judy's brief escape from the madness of rodeos and libertarians. Judy, as you probably know, if you've listened to me talk about her, lives in Alberta, hence the reference to rodeos and libertarians. And if you don't know Canada and you don't know that, 5 minutes on the internet, just look up Jason Kenney. You'll get rodeos and libertarians. She said there was lots of examples on YouTube, and she referenced Yo-Yo Ma's recording in particular, said he did a nice job. There's a beautiful recording of Yo-Yo Ma and the wonderful Alison Krauss doing this tune. I have to say, Judy, it's pretty smoothed out and pretty, that version. I love it. But it gave me some thought about how I might do this. It was fun working on this too, because this brings me back to something I talked about last week or the week before, which was playing with my mother's junior choir at church when I was first learning this instrument. When we used to do a version of this song with a different lyric, it was known in those days with that lyric as the Lord of the Dance, but this is actually a shaker tune from much before then. So I'm going to do it once, kind of rubato and smooth out and legato, just like Judy told me not to do, but with a couple of chords. And then I'm going to rough it up a little bit, and I hope it works for you. So the beautiful shaker tune, Simple Gifts, in the key of C. There's a lot in the key of C today, in case you're playing along. Simple Gifts. Simple Gifts with a bit of a second line. New Orleans kind of groove to have some fun. Judy Shand, very happy birthday to you. Many, many more. Have a great time in Gatineau. It's kind of ironic. Judy's daughter and my son are both working in Gatineau these days. I think Judy's daughter, Joy, works in the city, perhaps for some organization doing very good political work. My son's growing organic vegetables up in the hills. And I'm sure they're both making the world a better place. So thank you, thank you. Knock this guitar a little bit out of tune, try to get it back. Take this opportunity to remind you, as always, you can check the links on the side of the page to Bandcamp, find where you can get recordings of mine, including a recording I did with my favorite Scottish singer, Susanna MacDonald. Our record is there, and that's a record whose bed tracks were made in John Fingers Farrell's studio. So how's that for closing the loop on the opening track? You know, I was going to say my favorite Scottish singer and I make a practice of trying to play a tune together every day. And today she said, out of the blue, let's do Summertime, because it feels like summertime out there. And I happen to have a loop already constructed. So I love it when things come together like that. Of course, as well as selling recordings, I'm selling my teaching and my recording abilities. So if you're looking for a guitar lesson, or if you're making a record and you need a guitar track, I'm easy to get a hold of. Send me a Facebook message, send me an email, give me a call. I'd love to hook you up for a guitar lesson or record a guitar track. I've been having some fun on a couple of interesting recordings recently. But of course, it's Yipper's mandolin time. I've played a few hornpipes lately and referenced some discussions on the topic. Of course, my friend Stuart Seidel in Vancouver, who's the source of many of the charts for these traditional tunes that I play, he took me to task about the Devil's Dream. I referred to the Devil's Dream hornpipe, and he questioned whether it was a hornpipe. Now, I was playing it off a chart that said Devil's Dream hornpipe that I thought Stuart had sent me, and I may be wrong. Maybe I got that from somewhere else. But it was a fun discussion, and it led to that definitional question on which I will defer to Catherine Nichol and other experts. But that led to sharing a few more hornpipe charts, and Stuart sent me one for the Wonder hornpipe, which is one of his favorites that he's played before, and the Fairies hornpipe, which I played not so long ago. And we had a very funny conversation where Stuart was very excited to discover that to report that he had discovered somebody else who, like him, is a bit of a hound dog for databases of tunes. He found a database of old traditional tunes, including a bunch that he didn't know, maintained by a guy called Alf Warnock in Ottawa. And it just so happens that Alf Warnock has been a student of mine at jazz camp. So I was loving the ability to close that little loop too. I love when the small world stories connect like that. Alf's somebody I haven't seen in a while, although I did find him and send him a Facebook friend request. I don't know if he's found me. But Alf put up a bunch of tunes, including a chart for the Sunshine hornpipe, which I did post on my page earlier, and a few of you commented on. Catherine Nichol clocked that one and pointed out that I've heard her play it, and we had a fun discussion because, of course, she plays it better than me, but I'm going to try it. Louise, you've got the chart. If you're there to play along, it's in the key of A major. A bit of a stretch for the guy who likes to be in G on the mandolin, but we'll see how it goes. Here's my attempt at the Sunshine hornpipe. You know me, slow once to remember where the notes are, and then we'll see how it goes. G sharp, Kevin. The Sunshine Hornpipe. You know, I keep going around those because I keep hoping that I'll get some of those tricky lines better, and I never do. That's how it's supposed to end. Anyway, thank you. Louise, I bet you were playing along. Thanks very much. I bet you did a better job than me. What fun. What fun. Oh, you know, I'm so dying to bring that mandolin along to one of those itchy and scratchy sessions at Sandy Bell's and see if I can play a few of those tunes with people. Someday. It's coming. I feel like it's coming. I was in Sandy Bell's this week and somebody said, you know, you could play a guitar quietly in the corner as long as nobody sings. What a tragedy. Anyway, someday. Enough mandolin for today. These things just have to sit there on the stand and they go out of tune, you know? It is what happens. And this one, you gotta be in tune for this next tune. Another non-birthday request, not a request actually except from me, but I have often mentioned Roddy Elias, a fantastic guitarist and composer from Ottawa, who is a teacher of mine, certainly one of, if not the most influential music teachers I've ever had. I played his tune Spring Dance a few weeks ago on the show, and we had a nice exchange about it because, you know, he played that and he gave me a chart when I was a student of his back in the early 1980s. And then he kind of reconceived it and he re-recorded it as with a different title. I think he called it Stepping Stones. And it was very funny because he was very complimentary about my recording, unnecessarily so, actually. And he said, hey, do you have a chart of that tune? So I was able to send him a copy of his own handwritten chart for Spring Dance, which is kind of fun. But here's another tune that I think he actually wrote in the time when I was studying with him. A beautiful piece of music that goes back and forth between 3/4 and 4/4 time. Has a bit of a vamp, like a lot of the tunes that Roddy wrote at those times. I'm going to take a run at this. I think I played this for you once many months ago. Perhaps last April or May, a long time ago. I'm going to try it again. This is called French Song. French Song by Roddy Elias. I actually recorded that on a tune that's on an album which is out of print and almost impossible to get. I think you might be able to get it at CD Baby. I don't remember. But anyway, a tune, my very first album under my own name called Jam. An album of which I'm not terribly proud, but there's a few nice moments, including some beautiful soprano saxophone on that recording by a good friend of mine, Doug Banwell. Anyway, nice to bring that tune back again. Roddy, thank you very much for such a wonderful tune, putting that out into the universe and giving me a chance to play it. Thanks to all of you for listening. What next? I mentioned so many birthdays. I put this in a post, but you'd almost think that 1/52nd of the world's population had a birthday every week by the number of birthdays you come across when you start to look. So a few other birthdays that I did not have a chance to solicit requests for, but I would like to celebrate. Alan Cosker, a great Scottish drummer that I've had the privilege of working with a number of times here in Edinburgh and nearby. Alan has a birthday today, June the 4th. Another fantastic Scottish musician, Toby Mottershead, who's famous with a band called Black Diamond Express, which has actually played the Rivoli Club in Toronto. Although I'm sorry, I didn't know Toby then, I wasn't there. But he and some of my colleagues. I've had a chance to play with Toby a couple of times under the Stream Cycle banner. Fantastic online streaming project that I've talked about a few times. And I actually met Toby in person a few weeks ago, which is pretty nice after seeing him on a screen and playing his music. He had a birthday this week, I think on Tuesday or Wednesday. Also this week, Colette Savard had a birthday, a good friend from Toronto. I know Colette. Colette's got a great band. Colette's a fantastic songwriter herself, and also was for a long time the president of the board of directors of a place called the Tranzac Club, one of those places you'll note that I list in my list of favorite places and organizations in my notes on the Facebook page every week. The Tranzac is a great hub for art and culture right in the heart of downtown Toronto, working hard to stay alive during the pandemic. My very good friend and colleague Rebecca Campbell is another very integral part of that organization, and my band, the Special Interest Group, my band with Rebecca, the Special Interest Group, plays at the Tranzac once a month when we can. Anyway, Colette, I hope you had a great birthday, and I hope you're still celebrating. And yet another birthday for which I do have a request, and again, somebody I've often mentioned, my good friend Ruth Mott, who's a longtime friend and a more recent guitar student. Ruth started taking guitar lessons from me early in the pandemic online, and said she wanted to be, she'd played a long time ago. She wanted to be able to get her guitar back so she could play a few tunes around the campfire. Well, she has done so well. It's amazing, folks. It's amazing what she's learned. She's worked really hard. She's got all kinds of tunes under her belt, and she keeps playing them. And I'm going to play a tune. She asked me to play a tune that she had actually asked me to teach her a few weeks ago, and I did. And I had the most lovely experience. We had a lesson booked a couple of weeks ago, and we hooked up on Zoom, and there she was. She lives in Kingston, Ontario, and it was a beautiful day, and she was out in the sun on her back porch with her guitar, and she got her guitar out, and she started the lesson by playing and singing this tune for me herself. And I wish that I could play that. It was fabulous. It was a fabulous performance. But I didn't record it, and she'd be embarrassed, even though she was great. So I'm going to try a version of this. This is a tune by Guy Clark. Although the great Steve Earle has got a few recordings of it around. And we mostly talked about the Steve Earle recording and key when we did it, Ruth and I. I'm actually going to do it in Guy Clark's original key of E major to mix it up and try a couple of things just to make it a little different. And as you know, I'm going to sing it. So I got a bit of setup. Thanks, and Ruth, happy birthday. Okay. Goes up a little bit. Goes up. Austin in a chilly parlor bar, drinking Mad Dog margaritas and not caring where you are. But here I sit in Dublin, just rolling cigarettes, holding back and choking back the shakes with every breath. Forgive me all my anger, forgive me all my faults. There's no need to forgive me for thinking what I thought. I loved you from the get-go, I'll love you till I die. I loved you on the Spanish steps the day you said goodbye. Poor boy, work's my middle name. If money was a reason, I would not be the same. I'll stand up and be counted, I'll face up to the truth. Oh, I'll walk away from trouble, but I can't walk away from you. Forgive me all my anger, forgive me all my faults. There's no need to forgive me for thinking what I thought. I loved you from the get-go, I love you till I die. I loved you on the Spanish steps the way you said goodbye. Been to Fort Worth, I have been to Spain, I have been too proud to come in out of the rain. I have seen the David, I've seen the Mona Lisa too. I have heard Doc Watson play Columbus Stockade Blues. Oh, forgive me all my anger, forgive me all my faults. There's no need to forgive me for thinking what I thought. I loved you from the get-go, I love you till I die. I loved you on the Spanish steps the day you said goodbye. Bar, drinking Mad Dog margaritas and not caring where you are. Happy birthday, Ruth Mott. Bit of Guy Clark's Dublin Blues, that was called. I think I neglected to tell you the name of that, but that's called Dublin Blues by Guy Clark, also performed famously by Steve Earle and not so famously by me, and it should be famously by Ruth Mott. So there you go. Thanks for checking that out. Get all my wee tweaks back here. Everybody's still there, looks like it. Time for a message of love and one more tune. Look at that. Times have passed and I thought these tunes were short. Not today. Maybe I'm just talking too much. You know, my main message always is hang on to your mask, folks. It's not time to get rid of your mask. I saw an article in The Guardian today about seems like COVID numbers are going up in the schools, and I think we're getting lazy, and we can't afford to be lazy. Things are opening up around here a lot, and I'm scared about what's going to happen, and it's just not time to throw the precautions away, and you know that. So that's always where I want to start. I need, however, to say something about an event that came to light in Canada last week. I think the news actually broke last Thursday, but I'm in a bit of a delay in terms of how much I catch up with CBC News in Canada, and I wasn't aware of this enough to say something last week. But last Thursday, May 27th, the Tecumloops to Secwepemc, I'm sorry that I can't pronounce that properly, that First Nation in south central British Columbia, announced the discovery of the bodies of 215 Indigenous children on the grounds of what was a residential school in Kamloops. 215 children died and put in a mass grave in the ground with no notification and no opportunity for their families to grieve their deaths. A shock, but not a surprise, and probably a small example of what's true right across the country of Canada. It's a discovery which has traumatized and re-traumatized First Nations, Métis, and Inuit right across Turtle Island. People who have for a very long time been dealing with the intergenerational trauma and the lasting impacts of being forcibly removed from their families and their communities and their nations and put into residential schools and day schools that were expressly designed to rip them from their culture and train them out of their heritage and their language in order to assimilate them into an ostensibly superior and, in fact, grotesquely overbearing and oppressive culture that had been brought to that country by the Europeans. And I'm really not sure what to say about this. Not sure what somebody like me has to say about that, except that it's another reminder of the absolutely shameful history of my country. And I think this discovery yet again needs to move us and our governments beyond words of condolence and towards actions that actually advance truth and reconciliation. Flags have been lowered right across Canada in recognition of this discovery. There's been vigils and moments of silence, which are really important, but they're not enough. And it's hard to know what's enough. It's hard to know how to respond. We've got a long way to go to make things right. I encourage all of us, I've encouraged particularly Canadians, but really everyone, to read and pay close attention to the recommendations of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. I carry this little book around in a bag that I carry with me just about everywhere I go. It's a summary of the calls to action from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission that gave its report to the Canadian government and to the people of Canada a few years ago on this history. And those recommendations and the findings coming out of the inquiry into missing and murdered Indigenous women are recommendations that need to be taken very, very seriously, not cherry-picked and reflected on and put back for more study, but actually acted upon. And I wish that I had something more useful to say other than to offer my love and my solidarity, to encourage all of you to read those words and to take action and to do a better job of expressing our solidarity with the people, the First Peoples of Canada, and to do a better job of acknowledging whose land it is. Thanks for listening. I'm going to do one more tune. I'm going to do my usual thing, which is to play a loop. I'm going to celebrate one more birthday. One more fabulous friend has a birthday this week. Also yesterday, June the 3rd, was the birthday of my very good friend Tony Boston, again, of whom I've spoken often. Tony's a good friend of Dave and Ola, regular listeners here, and Tony sometimes streams in. I know that Tony was on his way with his partner Liz to a cottage that they've got carefully with lots of distance and not going to the shops in the local town. I think they're doing the right thing. So Tony wasn't sure if he'd listen, but I asked him what he might like for his birthday, and he said a looped instrumental construction of something. So I thought about that, I don't know why this tune reminds me of Tony, but it does. And I think it perhaps was because once I was somewhere and it came on and Tony walked into the room and in 2 notes he knew what tune it was because it was so much part of his history, more so than mine at that point. But it's a tune I love, and it's a tune that I'm sure my sister Bron would approve of because it's straight from 1977. It's by Elvis Costello, and it's called Watching the Detectives. And so I am going to try to loop up a little version of Watching the Detectives to wish a very happy birthday to Tony. Hope you're having a great day and a great week, Tony. And I also want to send this out to Bronwyn because it might be a little teaser. It's actually Bronwyn's birthday next Friday, and I haven't figured out what I'm going to play for her. But just to begin your birthday week, Bronwyn, here's a 1970s tune from Elvis Costello, which is probably on one of the many lists you have sent me. Watching the Detectives. Here we go. See how I do with this one. Tony and all of you, I'm so sorry. I did that wrong. I played a whole verse and chorus of that into the wrong looper. One more time. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. You ready? Kind of like the wrong trousers, I suppose, isn't it?